Hello, my name is Kevin Howard, and I'm the host of Breadcrumbs, a podcast for people who know it's not working. Welcome to episode 36, where I'm going to have an interview with Coach Trippi from the Political No Brainer podcast. And we're going to get into a fascinating discussion about Tulsi Gabbard, the whole career and her recent resignation as the Director of National Intelligence. You have reached the YouTube cut of this full interview. And this is going to be a 15-minute preview of the full episode. If you want to see the full episode, please click the link below. Join the Breadcrumbs community on Patreon as a standard member. It only costs $10 a month. But for your $10, you will get $20 worth of free gifts, and you will get the research for all our episodes, and you will also get the full video episodes. But for now, enjoy this YouTube cut. You take care, and I'll see you next time in the conversation. What's your opening statement regarding who Tulsi Gabbard is, what she's meant to the country, and what she could possibly mean to the future of the country?
Well, my opening statement would be that I don't believe the administration, the current president, appreciated what she had to contribute. And I don't believe they always took her advice. So my personal feeling is, knowing her personal opinion on never-ending wars, I don't believe for a minute she advised the president to go to war with Iran. So as far as her contribution to that conversation, neither one of us were there for it. But I can't assure you of anything because, like I just said, I wasn't there for the conversation. I can assure you I strongly believe that she made the recommendation not to go to war with Iran. And that's really where we're at today. When we think about where America is going as far as world affairs, it used to be Ukraine used to be the main focus. And then there was Gaza was the main focus. But now we're directly involved in a war with Iran that will have no benefit whatsoever for the safety of the world or our national security or our military guys. Because at the end, when we finally pull out, Russia and China will ultimately sell Iran nuclear missiles, just as they have North Korea. Well, China has not sold North Korea nuclear missiles, but Russia probably will. So
Now,
that
Coach, if we could stay within,
and that her suggestion to the president probably was, don't go to war with Iran. So just to paraphrase, he didn't listen. He listened to folks like Jared Kushner and Netanyahu and whoever else was in the group there. So what her contribution, I can't speak for her contribution. I can also say my personal thinking out loud opinion is the reason she's resigning is because they didn't give her a lot of consideration, or her opinion a lot of consideration. I think she resigned with class. I think she probably used a valid excuse, her husband's health. The fact of the matter is, I do believe, just like you said, she will be a strong political player in the future, however her husband's wealth pans out.
But when you look at her career, when you look at what she's been able to do, that's what I'm asking you to speak to. Has she been an important figure in modern American history? Is she a main contributor? What is she?
Just like I think exactly what she is a level-headed leader in every position she's ever held. And that's what we're looking for. And one of the things you also point out is her youthfulness, 45 years old. Could you imagine if a president was once again 45 years old? When has that last happened? Since John F. Kennedy. Okay. So could you imagine if we had that youth back in the White House? We're not talking about 30. You've got to grow from 30 to 45. But when you're at that age, you're really ready to lead. We haven't seen that since John F. Kennedy. And when we had in John F. Kennedy, whether we liked him or not, we liked his youthfulness. So that's an important contribution she has to offer. So if America embraces that and ultimately elects her as president, right there in and of itself, you've got something positive.
I hear you, Coach. This is a conversation. It's a discussion. I got to tell you, you know my background in terms of my political ideology. I had been a lifelong Democrat that ultimately voted for Donald Trump in 2024. One of the main reasons why I voted for Donald Trump, and let me just underline this fact, right? I voted for Mondale in '84 in my first presidential election. Yeah, and he lost 49 states to 1 to Ronald Reagan. That's how Democrat I had been over the course of my life. I voted for Barack Obama twice. I voted for Bill Clinton twice. So when I say I voted for Donald Trump in 2024, the first question should always be, how the hell did that happen? But one of the main reasons I did it was because of Tulsi Gabbard. And when you look at her background and your history, I mean, this is what an American hero looks like. Take all the spin out of this. She is 45 years old. At 21 years old, she was elected to the Hawaii House of Representatives as a state legislature. At 23, responding to 9/11, the call of duty to 9/11, she joined the Hawaiian National Guard. At the next year after she joined the National Guard, they got deployed to Iraq. She served multiple combat missions in Iraq and was awarded the Combat Medical Award for her medical service in combat. She is still serving in the military. She shifted from the National Guard in 2020 to the Army Reserves. She's a lieutenant colonel. She's been decorated with multiple awards, Army Commendation Award, the Meritorious Service Medal. Okay, so she has had a decorated combat military career, while concurrently, she has been a lifelong politician. Over the course of her political life, she has served at every level of government. She served in the Honolulu City Council, right? Before she was elected from the second district to the U.S. House of Representatives as a congresswoman. She served 8 years in the Congress. When she just got elected to Congress, the Democratic Party thought she was such a rock star that they made her co-chair of the Democratic National Committee, which she served for 3 years. She resigned her role in February 2016 because she needed to do that in order to endorse Bernie Sanders. Now, anyone who knows anything about the politics of Tulsi Gabbard knows that Tulsi Gabbard is far more conservative. She's a centrist Democrat, far more conservative than Bernie Sanders, who's a Democratic socialist, who was an independent most of his life and only functions in the Democratic Party in order to run in national elections. And she resigned her position in the DNC to support him. It wasn't about ideology. We can get into why she did that. It was about shenanigans on the part of the Democratic National Committee to deny Bernie Sanders the nomination in 2016 in favor of Hillary Clinton. This is one of the reasons why Hillary Clinton hates Tulsi Gabbard. Okay. She goes through that process. She runs for the president of the United States as a Democrat in 2020. And she's competitive. If you go back, she participated in 2 Democratic debates. They had a series of debates before the Iowa caucus, before the voting starts in 2019, right? Joe Biden was running. Tulsi Gabbard was running. Kamala Harris was running. Several people were running. She is the one who crushed Kamala Harris in the second debate, forcing Kamala Harris to withdraw, because she couldn't defend her own record. Okay. Because Tulsi Gabbard took out Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party would not let her get back on the debate stage, even though she qualified for debates because of her polling data. They had a polling data qualification and they had a contributions qualification, which she exceeded in both cases. Yeah, they kept her off the debate stage to punish her because they knocked out their darling in Kamala Harris. She ran because she couldn't get on the debate stage after that second debate. She couldn't win the nomination that way. People didn't know who she was. Her base was out in Hawaii. Okay, so she drops out of the race in March of 2020 and she endorses Joe Biden. Okay, yes, she left the party in 2022. Yes, she left the party saying that the party had been taken over by warmongers. But that's why she left the Democratic Party, to become an independent. And yes, she, to make herself eligible for Donald Trump, joined the Republican Party in 2024. Okay.
Now, let's be clear. One thing, though. When you say the Clintons, the Bidens, the Obamas were warmongers, so was the Bushes, both Papa and Junior.
Absolutely. The establishment parties, both of them, the establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats, are all warmongers. But let us understand, Donald Trump is not an establishment Republican.
Okay, let me point out one thing, though. She came on to the Donald Trump team for the second presidency under the impression that Donald Trump was not a warmonger, because in his first presidency, he was not. I just bring out this point when we talk about what was her contribution as director of national intelligence. I can't be sure what it was because she went in under one premise, but found out the administration had switched gears faster than a Yamaha. So I don't know what her contribution is. That's why I was a little vague on what her contribution was. Do I think that it was there? Absolutely. I think the attempt was there in good faith, but I do not think they listened to her on any point. And so
I
to that point, I believe she resigned with, of course, her husband's health in mind. I'm not diminishing that concern, but I am saying I believe there is a source of frustration there as well. So she does have to regroup now. And ultimately, the conversation is going to turn into how will she be as a candidate?
well,
And there is a lot of regrouping that has to be done for her to be as a candidate.
well, here's the thing, Coach. I think it's really important because we're kind of smoothing out some things. Okay. She joined Donald Trump in 2024 because Donald Trump promised to end the forever wars. This has been a central theme. It was a central theme of her presidential candidacy in 2020. It was a central theme, of course, her career. She is a combat veteran with over 23 years of ongoing service who opposes the use of military force for any other reason but the actual national security interests of the country. That is not why we are using our military. And so one of the ways we use our military is to advance our economic interests. And how we have been doing this, all these wars we've been fighting, we have been funneling billions of dollars of black ops intelligence funds through NGOs around the world to finance counterinsurgency groups. Tulsi Gabbard served in her 8 years serving in the Congress. She served on the Armed Services Committee. She served on the Foreign Affairs Committee. She served on the Homeland Security Committee. All those committees have top secret intelligence briefings that go to what we are doing with the use of our military force, what we're doing in our foreign policy. So she understood the extent to which, for example, in Syria, she understood based on the actual intelligence, is it true that Assad was using chemical weapons against his own people? Because this was Obama's predicate for deciding this was the red line Obama had set. And then the narrative became that Assad had used chemical weapons against his own people. She knew whether that was true or not because she had the actual intelligence reports.
But
And
here,
so,
you tell me
and
if
what
it
I'm
was
trying to
true.
say here is we were trying to intervene in Syria. And that's what Obama was trying to do. This is the continuation of the forever wars. So when she agreed to endorse Donald Trump, it's because Donald Trump agreed that he would appoint her to be director of national intelligence so that she can shut down the spigot of using intelligence funds through the NGOs to finance counterinsurgencies, which fuel the forever wars. And guess what? She did it. Do you remember last year, 2025, all the pearl clutching when one of the first things that were done was that they shut down USAID? And all these ridiculous progressives, and I've been a progressive all my life, all these ridiculous people talking, you would think that Tulsi Gabbard had dug out the body of President Kennedy and spit on what's left of his bones because USAID was a legacy NGO created under the Kennedy administration. No one bothered to check the fact that even though USAID does important work, like buying screens for kids to protect them from getting malaria in Africa, yeah, they do a lot of good work. But at the same time, while they're doing all that good work, billions of dollars are being funneled through them to finance these counterinsurgencies. She shut them down because they were used by the intelligence agencies and establishment.
You're covering a lot of ground here. You got to
No, but
pause.
what I'm trying to say is that we cannot smooth over the fact that he hired her, he put her at DNI, so that she could close the spigot. And they did. She closed the spigot. But the problem is that he betrayed her anyway. Hello. You've reached the end of episode 36, the YouTube cut. I hope you've enjoyed this condensed excerpt from the full episode. If you would like to see the complete, uncut video episode, click the link below. Join the Breadcrumbs community as a monthly standard member over on Patreon. It costs you $10 a month, but what you'll get is all the episodes complete, and you will get the supporting research, and you will get $20 and free gifts Plus, you will get direct email access to me so we can deepen the conversation. So click the link below and come join the community. You take care, and I'll see you next time in the conversation.